Hello everybody, welcome to the channel if you're new here, welcome back if you are not. It's Baby Jesus with another gold making guide, and today we are going to be looking at another town board item. Today's item of choice is Flint. Now Flint is selling like hotcake everywhere, selling around 1 gold a piece, and it is going relatively fast. Not as fast as something like rawhides, but selling very fast nonetheless. So today I'm going to show you where I like to gather Flint. Just because there's much less people here and you don't have to compete with anybody for it. Now, in this guide, you'll be able to gather anywhere between 800 and 1200, maybe even more, depending on how lucky you are with the spawns, Flint per hour, which means that you'll be making anywhere between 800 and 1500 gold per hour as well, for very little effort, if you will. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Here I'm going to show you where I am. So all I did is I fast traveled to the Cape Thomas Beach in First Light, and I went due north to this little crossing right here. So what you want to do is you want to stay along the coast for this run. You guys can either cross over or stay down and go around the bay by the bridge. It's entirely up to you. And the reason is Flint spawns in much higher quantities, either on the shore or up the coast, just slightly. So that being said, we're going to start the run, and you guys are going to see what I mean. And just like all of my other runs, I love to do them near the fast travel locations, because you can get in and out and sell your material if you fill up very quickly. You don't have to worry about running 1.5 miles just to get to where you need to go. Now, Flint does tend to spawn in little bundles like that, so just keep your eyes out for them. You guys can see there is more over there, but for the purpose of this, we're just going to keep going in the straight direction and stay along the coast here. So you guys can see the beauty about this area as well, it stays very shallow for a very long time, so you guys can get all those spawns that tend to sometimes be a little bit further off the coast and maybe be underwater. So we're just going to run up onto the shore here, pardon me, and gather the Flint. Now, a good way to know what materials you guys want to farm and grab is based really heavily on town board quests. A lot of people like to spam the quests for XP, but not a lot of people like to actually be out and gather said resources that they need to be able to spam. So we were just checking to see if anything spawned there. So, your fish oils, your flint, your rawhides, your greenwood, they all are going to stay relatively consistent in costs on the market. Pardon me. Which is going to allow you to really predict what you want to be farming next. If somebody's always flooding the market with cheap rawhides, move on to something else. If somebody's flooding with cheap flint, again, move on to something else. It's all going to affect how you do things, but it also gives you a lot of variables and a variety of what you can gather and what you can provide to your specific server. So again, if you're doing this just to make a ton of gold, then that is what you want to do. You want to always be swapping in between, because it is very easy to saturate a market if you are only farming rawhides and spamming a couple 100,000 rawhides a day onto your trading post. Then you will very quickly lose the value, and you can sort of read that and see that and shuffle off into something different. Now again, if you wanted to gather your greenwood as well while you're here, those little trees are a great way to do it, those bushes. But for the purpose of this video, we are not doing that because they are heavy. Now, a nice little benefit of farming Flint as well is you're going to see in the bottom corner, we're getting a lot of Nightcrawler bait. Nightcrawler bait in and of itself is actually really good if you want to be fishing. But what's nice is that, again, it's another town project or town board quest item. So it means that it's always going to have a value, and it's always going to sell. Now, during these runs, you can gather anywhere, it's a little bit random for the spawns. You guys see we just gathered 5 there, but didn't get a single bait. And yet here we could gather a bunch of them and get a ton of bait. You never know. So there you go. We got another one. We currently have 100 in our inventory, but I believe we started with around 87. So we haven't gathered that many of them. Now, what's nice is, again, you get that double whammy of gathering 2 town project items right now. So you can sell them both and make some good money off of them. Now, you guys see we're already at upwards of 50 flint. We have 60 flint after just getting to the bridge. So we have gone from here, just followed the coast all the way along, all the way down, and normally I double back and cross across the bridge. You guys can see it's really easy to just maintain this path and hop up and over here, and you can get a ton of flint spawns over here. Now, like I said, Flint does sell from anywhere between 0.7 gold to 1.5 gold, depending on what town you're in. I typically work and sell out of Windsward, and I'm on the Nepenthe server on US East, so obviously everything varies slightly server to server, but you'll see in Windsor this Flint normally sells for around $1 a piece, and the baits sell for around 0.25 a piece. And again, because they're both town board items, you will always have people buying them. So it means that every time we get something, you know, you're selling for roughly 1.25 gold a pop. And you see we got a couple of baits there. Pardon me. And move on. Again, it's really easy with this. You always just want to make your way back towards the water. You never really lose yourself. And again, it's one of the farms that I like because you can do it entirely without pulling any aggro. That's what I really like about these videos. We're just going to leave the river crest for now, which is a crying shame, I know. But for the sake of this video, we're just going to keep moving. We're going to check along here, and then make our way back. Pardon me. Oh. There we go. Keep moving. You guys can see again. Just keep your head on a swivel here, and you always want to be taking a look up on shore a little bit more, just to see if anything spawned just a short little distance away. So we're going to make our way up to that big pile over there, and then you can double back. Now the beauty about Flint is it respawns extremely quickly. So if we were to double back right now, virtually all the Flint that we've already gathered will have been respawned already. But, you know, just for the sake of this, in case it hasn't, we are going to just be gathering as much as we can, and then double back towards the fast travel location. So again, we've been gathering for about 5 minutes now, and we're already at 100, which means, you know, that puts us at around, pardon me, at around 1,200 Flint an hour on this run. Obviously, again, it all depends on the spawn rates, and Flint is a little finicky sometimes, in a sense that it can spawn in one place and then never come back, or it feels like it'll never come back. So just take that all with a grain of salt. Now, again, try not to gather too far out like you saw me do right there, because it can slow you down astronomically and really cut into your gathering speed. So again, we're just going to head back inland a little bit here and just gather these. Again, they always tend to spawn in these little formations here around a rock. You'll have like 5 or 6 that just spawn with the boulder, the mineable rock. So again, you just want to sort of keep your head on a swivel and check through all these bowls here, or brushes, I guess they are, not bowls. No, just regular bushes. Gotcha. And make our way back. Now you guys can see all this Flint is already spawned again. We've already been through here, and you can see it spawning in front of us. So it has a spawn timer of, I would say, probably a minute to maybe a minute and a half. So very, very short. And now we can make our way back towards the fast travel, and you guys will be able to see that how much Flint we have actually gathered. So we're at 125 now, and we have really only gone this distance, one direction. So when you head back, we'll see. And if you guys are done or you want to head out earlier, you can always make your way to the fast travel sooner. That's entirely up to you. That's why I like to gravitate and stay around the fast travels, because it leaves a lot of flexibility. If you guys don't have bags, or you don't have as much carrying capacity, or you're gathering everything in sight, which I strongly recommend, then you might fill up your bag a little bit faster. Oh, apparently I have a quest to kill those. Let's move on. So again, because this route never touches a mob, it's perfect for people of any skill level or level itself, just because you don't have to worry about trying to kite or kill anything in your sight. You can be in, out, and never pull aggro, which I love, because it does not gatekeep anybody from being able to do this and making some gold, which is really what I love to do in these games. So again, you can see the more Flint you gather, obviously the higher likelihood that you gather those little baits as well, and we're at 150 Flint already. So moving nicely along here, and staying on, like I said, that pace of making around 200 Flint in 10 minutes, or 1,200 Flint in an hour. And again, all this is going to be relevant to your server. If you find Flint doesn't sell really well right now, just keep it on the back burner and don't really put any emphasis on it, because again, it will. Just because of how the town project boards work, or town boards work. Hey, come on. It will come back into play, and there will always be people wanting to buy it. Now again, this might be a little too deep, and it's going to slow us down, so we're not even going to bother with it. We're just going to head back in. There is enough of it around that we are not heartbroken about missing 5 of them. Again, keep your head on a swivel, take a look. Again, you know that they spawn typically around a boulder like that, so there's probably 5 or 6. But we did see a lynx up there, and the whole point of this is we don't want aggro. We're doing this without touching any animals that can do us damage to us, because we don't want to limit what we can or cannot do. Again, this is a starting area, so you should not have any issues regardless. But again, we're at about 170 flint, or not about, we are exactly 170 flint, the beauty of it telling us what we're at. And we are now closing back in on the teleporter. You guys can see it up that giant blue beam in the sky. What's nice about this as well, there are not many corruptions that spawn near here. So you don't really have to worry about dealing with a corruption spawning rate on your farming route. So you can just keep moving, and you don't have to worry about it. Alright. And you guys can see we're almost exactly back to where we started, which was this little crossing in front of us. If we pull up our map, the crossing, this is one of them, and the next crossing is just on the other side where you see that shipwreck. So what's nice about the crossing is you don't have to guess whether or not it's deep water. You can always run through crossing water. Again, just take a look. Stay a little inland. And I like to run on land just for my own sake. That's my own preference on that. Come around, see if there's any flint that spawned. Typically the river crest is there. So again, you guys can gather that and make a little bit of extra gold on that mining route as well. But for the sake, again, for this video, we are literally just gathering flint because I want to show you how much you actually can get. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will put us right up near the 200 mark. And that's typically when I will, I want to try and be around that amount by 10 minutes because that means that I'm gathering efficiently and, I haven't really veered off too much. So we're going to head back towards the teleporter and gather a couple more. You guys can see some that was actually through the shipboards. Again, that formation is normally a dead giveaway that there's going to be flint in the area. And if you're lucky like this one, you actually have 2 of these formations next to each other. And mine it. Why? Because why not? So, as you guys can see, we are now up over 200 flint, and we actually have 150 of those nightcrawlers. Like I said, I do believe I started with about 80, maybe 90 of them if I wanted to be really conservative. So we have gathered another 60 of those as well. So that is going to add to your gold per hour or gold per minute, depending on how you want to break down your own stats. So we're just going to recall to the inn in Windsward, and we'll show you how the markets look for these items. Again, you don't have to fast travel from the fast travel location. You can always just recall to the inn whenever you want, but I burned a cooldown for that. So it is what it is. I didn't use any Azoth. So now we're at the inn. You guys can see I did buy my house right there because I wanted to be close to the trading post. All things for my own sanity. So again, in Windsward on my server, we can see here, what does Flint sell for? Flint sells for 0.98 gold, and we gathered 200 of it, which means that our, if we're in about 10 minutes. So if we do 200 by 6, it means we get 1,200 in an hour, and you multiply that by 0.98, you can get around 1,100. And we also know that we got about, so we're just gonna go sell that, and we're gonna sell for a little bit less. So we'll say 0.95, which does change our numbers a little bit. We got 1,200 by 0.95, which gives you about 1,100 gold. Now we do want to give this about 3 days. You don't want to do it in 1 day. It does sell a little bit slower, so you can take off that 5 gold for the posting fee, again, depending on your town. Now, again, the other thing that we got wasn't just for the flint. Did I put a buy order for that? No, it was a sell order. Okay, perfect. We wanted to go look at bait, and if we wanted to go, it was the nightcrawler bait. We can do a sell order. You guys can see it's actually selling for 0.28. So if we sold that for 0.25, we got about 80 of them as well, which is just going to top off everything else, right? So we go 2.5. And we'll put this on 3 days as well, and we'll sell it all because I don't need it, but for the sake of this, 0.25 by 80, that's an extra 20 gold on top. So you're making about 1,200 gold to 1,300 gold, maybe an hour, depending on what your servers are going. So it gives you a little bit of variance, but you guys can see it is a very, very easy route to do. Very, very simple. And if you guys wanted to do a split between selling it and doing your town board projects, I'd recommend doing that as well. It's a nice way to make some gold whilst also leveling yourself up. That's going to be it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see other guides, please, please, please let me know what you'd like. We'll be touching base on a couple of other really easy gold making methods in the future. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys would like to see. Again, thank you so much for everything. I appreciate you, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.